Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the infinitely compassionate and infinitely merciful, our refuge, our guide, our sustainer. And thank you for the opportunity to share a few words about Ramadan. Ramadan can be thought of as meditation for the body. Now, what do we mean by meditation? Meditation of the mind, muraqabah in our Islamic vocabulary, a vigilant self-awareness, very different from thought, a practice of learning to put aside our thinking mind and our random emotions and to come into a state of pure awareness. And in that state of pure awareness, we believe we are closer to Allah because the awareness within the human being is a gift from Allah. And as we can bring ourselves back, bring our attention back to the source of attention, to pure witnessing presence, that is simply the practice of meditation, emptying the mind so we can experience consciousness, the source of consciousness, where we're closest to God. Now, in what way is fasting similar to meditation? Fasting as meditation of the body is to withdraw from the body all of those lawful, pleasant, and necessary satisfactions of nourishment, and to begin to experience ourselves like the beautiful attribute of Allah, as-samad. In other words, to be in a state of experiencing needlessness. Allah needs nothing. Allah is complete. And while the human being is never complete in himself or herself, we have this attribute, this inherent in us, where we can experience needing nothing but Allah, needing nothing but the presence of Allah. So all the satisfactions that we usually experience and depend on, the little rewards we give ourselves, for instance, throughout the course of the day, we put all of those aside and we say, I'm not going to be distracted, I'm not going to be enslaved to these hungers and thirsts. I'm going to take refuge in the presence of Allah and cultivate that presence and find who I am and what I am when we eliminate all of these bodily satisfactions, as well as eliminating from our souls all forms of negativity, judgment and blame of others, and enter into the state of a pure heart. I'd like to share with you a quote from a great thinker, Al-Kashani, and he says, as for the men of knowledge of the hereafter, what they mean by the correctness of fasting is its acceptability. And the acceptability of the fast is whether or not it has enabled one to reach one's objective. These men of knowledge understand the objective of fasting is to be taking on as much as possible the character which contains one of the attributes of Allah, Allah the self-sustainer, as-samad, which resembles the angels in their having no desires. So, to experience our angelic nature is to put aside all of our desires and enter into as much as is humanly possible a samad, that condition of self-sustaining being and presence. I'll also quote from Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, who says, "He who has fasted for Allah, the glorious and mighty, and is in the discomfort of heart and struck by thirst, and is in the discomfort of heat and struck by thirst, will have his face wiped and be given the good news by 1,000 angels, whom Allah has entrusted to him until he breaks his fast. At that point, Allah will say, 'How sweet is your odor and your soul. O angels, witness that I have forgiven him.'" So what a beautiful reassurance from Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, one of the great people of the Ahl Bayt, who was an educator of many great Sufis. So what a beautiful reassurance to know that we are accompanied by 1,000 angels whom Allah has entrusted to protect us and sustain us. Maybe that's why it's such a difference fasting in Ramadan than fasting other times of the year, simply by our intention and the timing, and perhaps the fact that it's a community of more than 1 billion people who are fasting with us, that we're given a special support and we're able to experience the blessings of this month. And what an extraordinary gift is offered to us as part of this deen. So fasting is meditation of the body because it clears away all of those hungers and thirsts and desires in order to experience the self-sustaining attribute. It is Allah who's sustaining us. We're not sustaining ourselves. It is Allah and His angels who sustain us during this time of fasting and brings us extraordinary benefits so that we can know our true spiritual nature, so that we can experience ourselves in a way that is rarely given during the other 11 months of the year. So, dear friends, I wish you well. I wish you all the strength and clarity and purity of heart that we need to approach this month of Ramadan with a good intention. Thank you for this opportunity. Assalamu alaikum.